Thank you so much for joining us for today's panel discussion. Today, I have got Susan Jarboe and Kathy Cronin with me, and I will present the topic. But before we get to that, let's just take a moment and join together in prayer. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Sit back, take a breath, and turn within. God, we are so grateful to be able to join together here and now, to support one another, to learn together, and to reach whomever needs to hear our topic and our words. God, we would see all that we do here be a blessing in the world. Thank you, God. Amen. Okay, so my topic today comes from a Unity booklet, and this Unity booklet is called Prosperous Living. I don't know if you can see that or not. And the article I'm reading, it's not a long one, is Trust the Chaos by Reverend Felicia Searcy from Sacred Secret. A woman in my congregation wanted a new, more fulfilling job closer to home. She became increasingly unhappy in her current situation and was desperate for something different. She called me one day to tell me that she had been offered what seemed like a dream job. The hitch was that it was further from her home instead of closer. She had reservations, but was sure that this new job was divinely delivered. She began working and felt fairly satisfied with the whole work when one day, about a month after she started, she went into work only to find herself fired. She called me that day shaken, questioning how this could have happened. She was sure that she followed the guidance when she accepted the new job. She began to question herself, her process, and her faith. Yet she was committed to working the spiritual principles she had learned in church. We were, in fact, starting a prosperity class that evening, so I encouraged her to come to class instead of isolating herself, especially given her new circumstances. During the class session, she dug deep into her belief system. She did lots of forgiveness work and began to give thanks in all things. As a result, she saw that she had core beliefs that told her she didn't deserve good things and that she expected too much. Because of that, she saw how she had settled for something that wasn't quite what she wanted, afraid it was all she was going to get. By the end of the 7 weeks, she was able to see how divine order, with her cooperation, orchestrated the short term job situation to give her an opportunity to heal from some deep belief patterns that kept her from accepting her greater good. So that's an excerpt from the article on Trust the Chaos. And my question to the panel would be, do you have something you want to share about on the reading? And is there a time in your life when what you thought was chaos turned out to be a blessing? So, what do you think, ladies?
I'll go. I think that's so pertinent, and it fits somewhere in my life that is trusting the chaos, or the unanswered prayers sometimes is what it is that what's going on is when I was still working, my company was going through stages of reorganization, and they were going from where we had localized divisions to regional centers to the corporate. And in the process of that, I worked out of the San Diego office. And when they went to the region, they basically went through this reorganization that everything was now going to be handled in the region rather than locally at the division. And I remember I was supposed to go to a conference at the national headquarters and was told I was not going. And I immediately thought, okay, my job's being eliminated. That's why I'm not going to this conference. And so I remember getting on the phone with Silent Unity to pray with me, because it was like, I was right at that stage. It's like too young to retire and be eligible for benefits, and probably too old to be able to get another job. So I was in this panic, and I got on with Silent Unity. And I remember this person on the phone with me saying, do you want to keep this job? And I said, I would like to keep this job. I would like to be able to stay and, you know, be able to be an integral part. I've got 10 years with the company, and I really prefer to stay. And so we prayed for that. And then 2 weeks later, they held a division for our department. We had a basically general meeting, and we're basically our department of 21. They were eliminating most of the positions. They were either going to the region or they were going to the corporate offices. So it was a matter of, getting up and moving. And I remember walking in after they told our whole department that some of these positions would be gone and that people would be severanced out. And I remember going into the one-on-one meeting with pen in hand, knowing I was going to have to be signing off my separation paperwork. And I remember our vice president at the division kept saying, you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. And I go, okay, so where do I need to sign? He goes, no, your job stayed and you're staying here. You don't have to move to the LA region, or you don't have to go to Charlotte. Your job's staying here. And I went, you got to be kidding me. I was absolutely shell-shocked. And then I just sort of went, thank you, Silent Unity, for praying with me for these last 2 weeks, because I just figured I was gone. I was going to be out of work. And that was sort of the whole start of that situation, where I started to trust that, things will work out when you take it to prayer and things. And then once we went regional, my boss was up in the LA area, but I was working out of the San Diego area and going up there to do other audits. But then they had a position that opened up for a senior manager. So I applied for it, and which my boss was a director, but they were eliminating directors and just going with senior managers. So she sort of had to apply for the same job that I was applying for. So it was a step down for her, step up for me. And in the process of that, I was not, they did not fill that position because they're still in the process of the reorganization. And I finally went, okay, so I'm still, and I'm working with the guy that was overseeing this. And so then it was the director. I applied for the director's position, and I kept listening to Wayne Dwyer's thing about inspiration and just going for what it is and believing it was. And I was bypassed for that. It was given to the former vice president because his position was eliminated. And so he became the director, and I was working with him, and he was sort of slotting me in the senior manager's role. Well, within 6 months after him taking the director's position that I had applied for, and I was told, you were my second choice, but I gave it to him because he was going to be out of a job and he would take this over. That position got eliminated at the regional level. So I would have been out of a job there if I had been given it. And in the process of him not appointing me as a senior manager, they eliminated the senior manager's position. So I missed that thing. It was like everything I was applying for and getting the rejection of being given the promotions ended up working out for my highest good. That from that department of 21 that started in San Diego, I was the solo last person that was there until the company was sold off. And then, so it was like all those times I was disappointed and felt rejected that I wasn't given these promotions, God was working behind the scenes for what was for my highest good, that I got to stay until I hit full retirement age and then left the company at that point in time. So that's my story, and I will stand behind it because I think sometimes we don't know what's going on, but sometimes God has a better plan for us. And so I always end my prayer when I ask for something, it's this or that, which is for my highest good. God, I trust you. So, and so that's mine.
I love it. What a great demonstration. What an absolutely perfect example of what we're talking about. Do you have one, Susan?
Well, I had sort of two trains of thought that emerged from listening to what you had to say. And one is that I've always been a fan of chaos theory. You know, the butterfly flutters its wings and we end up with tornadoes in Kansas. For my own personal life, this was one trend. Um, my life was in chaos after my husband died. I had to give up a career to take care of him. He died, and when he fell sick, I lost my husband. When he died, I lost my child. And so I had to start over. That meant I had to give up my house. I had to find homes for 4 cats. And I packed up and moved 3,000 miles to San Diego. This was where I grew up, and this is where I have family. And I was in a similar position to what Kathy described. Uh, Too young to retire and collect benefits, too old to like start over. And so I was unemployed. I moved here in '04, I think May or June, but I got a part-time job teaching at Grossmont College in the fall, and then I got another part-time job teaching at San Diego State in January. And so what that was fine with me to have two part-time jobs. I did not think I was capable of taking a job on where you really commit yourself, uh, and throw yourself into things. I loved the distance that working part-time gave me, and that gave me time to pursue other kinds of things. And those other kinds of things were theology, contemplation, meditation, mysticism. I was able to do a lot of reading in areas that I'd always wanted to read in. And I would not have had that kind of time with a full-time job and the commitment that that requires. So I don't know if, when I say my life was in chaos, yes, I guess it was. I have since acquired a cat. Um, but in some ways it was more like sensory deprivation. It's like there was a vacuum, like there was nothing. And but step by step, I have been taken care of. So that's the first theme that came out of what you were talking about with chaos. Now, the second thing I was thinking about, that we've all been thinking about, is how chaotic the world seems to be today. Now, we've always had wars, we've always had famines, we've always had floods, we've always had volcanoes. Um, but there's something about the situation in the world today, what is happening on college campuses, and so on, that seems very chaotic. Uh, you could easily say today, as we are recording this, that our college campuses are in chaos. And so I'm, and what I'm trying to do is realize there's no way I, or probably any other human, can fix this. And so in when surrounded by chaos, I have to trust in God. When I find myself upset over something that is happening in the world, when I feel sickened by destruction and death, I have to hold on to the idea that God is righting all this chaos. I'm not. I feel in the middle of it in terms of my emotions and thoughts and everything else. But that's what I have to rely on. I don't have to know any answers. I don't have to see any answers. I don't have to tell people what to do. I don't have to solve this problem. I can observe it, watch it, pray about it, and rely on God in the chaos.
I love that. That was beautiful. And yes, trust the trust the chaos, which is of course have faith. Everything will work out in the end. There's a saying actually that everything will be fine in the end. If it's not fine, it's not the end. And I love that. And I use that sometimes. Well, this is not fine. Obviously, we are not done. Okay, any other comments, ladies? Thank you so much for joining me for this topic. I really enjoyed everything you had to say. Thank you, our viewers, for joining us. We appreciate any comments that you have. If you're interested in having us present a topic you would like to hear about, or even being a part of the panel, whether you want to be here for one topic or join the panel discussion, we would be glad to discuss that with you. Please contact the church. The information is in the little blurb we run at the end. Thank you for being with us. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And as always, if you found value here and you want to share it, we would love for you to do that. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.